In the very thick of the ordinary, an unfathomable secret lay hidden, poised to radically alter the destiny of a young girl. Anechka, barely 10 years old, lived in the warm embrace of a backwater town affectionately called Solnechny, Sunny, with her adoring parents. Who could have guessed that behind the appealing facade of this idyllic picture lay a narrative filled with unpredictable events and heartfelt emotions? This poignant saga of first love, unbreakable bonds of friendship, and the inevitable moment of parting will leave an indelible mark on the soul of anyone who embraces it wholeheartedly. In the year 1999, Solnechny seemed a cozy nook crafted from winding streets, like threads weaving through old wooden buildings. An imposing park, sheltered by towering trees, served as a haven for daydreams and philosophical musings. Anechka, like a modest flower, bloomed quietly and timidly. Within the walls of the school, she tried to avoid noisy games and rarely shared her innermost thoughts with her peers. Her inner world yearned for solitude, seeking solace in the pages of captivating books or in leisurely strolls through the picturesque park, where she could freely indulge her fantasies. The girl's heart overflowed with tender affection for our smaller brethren. She read stories about loyal dogs, gentle cats, and even exotic beasts, such as adorable pandas and playful lemurs, with genuine delight. In her dreams, she envisioned scenes where she, surrounded by care and affection, would look after her own personal pet. But her parents, like vigilant guardians of reality, reminded her that keeping animals at home involved a great deal of responsibility, leaving Anya only with unfulfilled dreams of a four-legged companion. One day, when autumn had painted the park in a rich palette of gold and crimson hues, Anechka went for a peaceful walk. The refreshing air enveloped her, and she tried to wrap herself more snugly in her well-worn blue scarf. As she walked along the path, she suddenly heard a faint sound, a quiet, heartbreaking meow. Stopping dead in her tracks, she strained her ears. The sound came from behind a thick blackberry bush, like a plea for help. Carefully pushing aside the prickly branches, she saw a tiny kitten. It was so small it seemed unreal. Its dirty gray fur matted with the pervasive dampness. Unusually large green eyes gazed at Anya with such deep sadness that her heart ached with overwhelming pity. "Poor thing," she whispered, as if afraid to break the enchanting silence. Squatting down, she timidly reached out her hand. The kitten initially flinched, as if startled, but then, as if trusting its own instinct, moved closer and delicately licked her fingers. Anechka rewarded it with a shy smile. Gently taking the kitten in her arms, she felt that it was so weightless it was barely there. "You're hungry and frozen, aren't you? I'll take care of you," she said softly, as if making a sacred vow. Wrapping the kitten in her cozy scarf, Anechka hurried home. She realized that her parents probably wouldn't approve of her spontaneous action, but she couldn't leave this defenseless creature all alone in the cold park. At that very moment, a sense of deep responsibility and true compassion was born in her young heart, which would inevitably determine her future life path. At home, Anya introduced the found kitten to her loving mother. She was standing at the stove, working her magic to prepare dinner, and initially frowned, as if sensing impending trouble. "Anya, you know very well that we hadn't planned to have any pets at all," she said in a stern voice, but Anechka looked at her with pleading eyes, as if begging for boundless mercy. "Mommy, it's all alone. If I don't take it in, it just won't survive. Please." Her mother sighed deeply, as if yielding under the pressure of compelling arguments, and glanced at the kitten, shivering with cold in the soft scarf. Her heart immediately softened. "All right, I agree. But you'll have to take care of it yourself. And if it spoils anything, it will be solely your responsibility," she concluded, as if setting an important condition. Anechka nodded her head happily, as if enthusiastically accepting the challenge. She immediately set to work energetically, filled with determination to prove her full competence. Filling a small bowl with warm water, she carefully washed the kitten clean of dirt. Dirt streamed abundantly from its fur, revealing its true color, a delicate light ginger with cute white spots on its small paws. Anechka carefully dried it with a soft towel, fed it warm milk and small pieces of bread soaked in water. The kitten devoured the food with insatiable appetite, as if greedily making up for lost time, and then curled up comfortably in Anya's lap and fell asleep sweetly, purring softly, as if heartily thanking her for its miraculous rescue. Anechka decided to give it a beautiful name, Murzik. It seemed to her that it suited this small and extraordinarily affectionate creature in the best way. From that momentous day on, Murzik became her most faithful friend, her devoted companion, and her most trusted confidant. They spent all their free time together, enjoying each other's happy company. In the morning, before going to school, Anechka enthusiastically played with Murzik, tossing him a light paper ball, which he caught with his tiny paws, like a true experienced hunter. After school, she took him with her to the park, where they frolicked carefree among the fallen leaves, like two happy children. Murzik loved to hide behind trees and suddenly jump out, causing Anya to laugh sincerely, as if he were her personal clown. She made him a small bed out of an old soft blanket, but Murzik, nevertheless, preferred to sleep next to her, clinging tightly to her side, as if desperately seeking warmth and reliable protection. Anechka frankly shared all her innermost secrets with Murzik, trusting him with her most cherished thoughts. She confided about how lonely she sometimes felt at school, how she was afraid she would never find real friends, as if he were her attentive psychologist. She shared her bright dreams of becoming a respected veterinarian and saving unfortunate animals, as if he were her inexhaustible source of inspiration. Murzik looked at her attentively with his big expressive eyes and purred affectionately, as if saying, "I understand you perfectly," as if he were her most devoted and patient listener. But carefree happiness, as is well known, is fleeting and deceptive. One evening, when Anechka returned from school, her mother met her with a serious expression, as if foretelling trouble. "Anya, please, sit down. We need to talk seriously," she said. Anechka sat down at the table, feeling anxiety growing uncontrollably inside her, as if sensing impending doom. Her mother announced that her father had received a lucrative offer for a new interesting job in a big city, located several hundred kilometers from quiet Solnechny. They would have to move immediately in just 2 weeks, like a bolt from the blue. Anechka froze on the spot, as if struck by lightning. "What will happen to Murzik?" she asked in a trembling voice, as if naively hoping it was all just a bad dream. Her mother sadly looked away, as if hesitant to utter the cruel truth. "The new house strictly prohibits keeping any animals. Those are the strict rules of the residents of the building. We'll have to find him another cozy home," she stated, as if delivering a final death sentence. Anechka felt tears welling up in her eyes involuntarily, as if preparing to pour out in a turbulent stream. "No, I'll never give Murzik away. He's my best friend," she cried out desperately, as if rejecting the inevitable. Her mother hugged her tightly, trying to soothe her in every way. "I understand how hard this is for you, Anya, but unfortunately, we have absolutely no choice. We'll definitely find him good and caring owners, I promise you," she assured, as if trying to soften the heavy blow. Anechka rushed to her room and threw herself on her soft bed, hugging her beloved Murzik tightly, as if desperately seeking necessary protection from him. He mewed plaintively and licked her hand affectionately, completely unaware of why she was crying so inconsolably, as if trying to comfort her. Anechka understood perfectly well that she simply couldn't let him go, but she had absolutely no strength to fight her parents' decision, as if she was completely powerless before inevitable fate. The following few days were agonizing, as if they stretched into an endless eternity. Anechka desperately tried to come up with some way to keep Murzik with her, as if frantically searching for a way out of a tangled labyrinth. She tearfully begged her parents to find another suitable house where it was allowed to keep kind animals, but her father patiently explained that this was completely impossible. The job was too important for their family, as if putting a cross on her last hopes. Anechka even seriously considered hiding Murzik in a large suitcase, but realized that this was not the solution, as if realizing the absurdity of her ill-considered idea. On that sad, moving day, Anechka sat listlessly on the floor in her room, gently hugging her beloved Murzik, as if saying goodbye to him forever. She carefully stroked his soft fur and whispered quietly, "Forgive me, dear Murzik. I don't want to leave you at all," as if sincerely apologizing for her helpless powerlessness. Tears flowed profusely down her cheeks, falling on his ginger back, as if mourning their inevitable separation. Murzik looked at her attentively, mewing softly, and licked her fingers affectionately, as if trying to comfort her, as if understanding her deep pain. The elderly neighboring couple, living across the street, generously agreed to take Murzik in, as if guardian angels sent by heaven itself. They were kind and sympathetic people and tenderly loved animals, as if specially created for this noble role. Anechka carefully brought Murzik to them, holding him tightly in her arms until the very last moment, as if desperately not wanting to part with him. She carefully handed him to her neighbor, Aunt Masha, and said quietly, "Please, take care of him. He's the best and most affectionate kitten in the whole world," as if handing her the most precious treasure. Aunt Masha nodded affirmatively, stroking Murzik's soft fur, as if accepting the responsibility placed upon her. "Don't worry, dear Anechka. We'll love him," she assured. Anechka hugged Murzik one last time, feeling her heart breaking into small pieces, as if experiencing unbearable pain. Then she quickly turned around and ran to the waiting car, where her parents were, as if running away from her great sorrow. As they drove away, Anechka sadly looked out the window and saw Murzik sitting on the windowsill at the neighbor's house and sadly watching her with a long gaze, as if saying goodbye forever. In the unfamiliar city, everything seemed alien and unusual, as if she had entered a completely different world. The new house was big but somehow cold and uncomfortable, as if devoid of a soul. The school was noisy and crowded, and Anechka felt lonely and lost among the new faces, like a lone traveler in a distant and unfamiliar land. She missed Murzik unbearably every day, as if he were an integral part of herself. At night, she hugged her soft pillow tightly and naively imagined that it was him purring quietly next to her, as if seeking comfort in her childhood fantasies. She desperately tried to make new friends, but no one understood her as deeply as Murzik, as if their connection was truly unique and unrepeatable. A full 90 long days passed, as if a whole eternity had passed. Anechka gradually began to get used to her new life, as if adapting to the new harsh conditions. She befriended a kind girl named Katya, who also loved to read books, as if unexpectedly finding a kindred spirit. But in her heart, there still remained a gaping void, like an unhealed deep wound. She often remembered Murzik and sincerely prayed that he was happy, as if hoping for the best. One day, returning safely from school, Anechka found a long-awaited letter on the table, as if a good sign of fate. It was from Aunt Masha, her former neighbor from distant Solnechny, as if a pleasant message from the past. Inside lay a recent photograph of Murzik, as if a message of hope. He was sitting happily on the lap of a little girl, the daughter of the new loving owners, and looked quite content and happy, as if he had finally found his new home. His fur was noticeably shiny, and his eyes sincerely shone with joy, as if he was truly happy. In the letter, Aunt Masha wrote, "Dear Anya, Murzik is now living in a wonderful family. They have children of their own, and he has become everyone's favorite. Don't be sad, he is very happy," as if trying to soothe her kind heart. Anechka stared intently at this photograph for a long time, as if trying to remember every minute detail. She smiled gently, but tears flowed down her cheeks again, as if giving free rein to her feelings. She was sincerely happy for Murzig, but the unbearable pain of the inevitable separation had not disappeared anywhere, as if it would remain with her forever. She carefully hung the precious photograph above her bed and looked at it attentively every night before going to sleep, as if seeking necessary comfort in her warm memories. Anechka realized that life is full of diverse changes, like a fast river constantly changing its course. She could no longer bring back her beloved Murzig, but their strong friendship remained forever in her kind heart like a precious treasure. She firmly decided that one day she would become a respected veterinarian and would help our smaller brethren as she once helped the defenseless Murzig, as if finding her true calling. This bright thought gave her the necessary strength to move forward confidently, as if showing her the right path in life. This touching story about strong love, true friendship, and inevitable farewell is like a mirror, truthfully reflecting our difficult life. Anechka and Murzig found each other at a difficult and responsible moment, but fate cruelly separated them, as if testing their strength. But their invisible connection remained forever in bright memories, warming Anya's kind heart even on the saddest and most Pechalny days, like a bright fire warming on a cold winter night. Life wisely teaches us to let go, but never forget those whom we sincerely love, as if reminding us of the importance of bright memory.